yes, the results mean more than just the final outcome. And I think some of the devil is in the detail. So 923 people voted, right? So I think the kind of big takeaways. Number one, not surprising, the Northeast region, everybody got 0 except Bawumia, right? So if you look at the spread I've sent to you guys, 28 for Bawumia, everybody got 0, all right? Second story, Apreku got 0 everywhere, right? Yeah. Third point, and indeed, a lot of people said that somebody would get 0 because these are a very self-selecting group. Third point was Kennedy being number 2, Alan being number 3. If you compare the two of them, let's just compare the regions that Kennedy won versus the regions that Alan won. So in the headquarters, Kennedy got 32, Alan got 25. In Ashanti, Alan got 10, Kennedy got 6. In the north, so the only other region that Alan beat Kennedy was the Western region, where he got 7 and Kennedy got 3. And then those are the only regions everywhere. And then in the Upper West region, where he got 4 and Kennedy got 2. Central region was big for Kennedy. Japan got 19. Bawumia won everywhere. Now, the thing about Bawumia is that if you take his percentage wins, all right, so if you look at the percentage wins, Northeast 100%, Northern 94%, Western 94%, Upper East 86%, Bono 82%, Ashanti 82%, Eastern 74%, Upper West 72%, Volta 71%, Savannah 68%, which is like the average. Headquarters 61%, Bono East 59%, OT 53%, Greater Accra 51%, Central 46%, Ahafo 43%, Western North 40%. I'm told a lot of the MPs voted at headquarters.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to make an extrapolation, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. If a lot of MPs voted at headquarters and Greater Accra, they voted at headquarters, then it will suggest that the numbers that somebody like Adainimo got, because his 9, 6 came from headquarters. So it will suggest that maybe he has some of his supporters within the top brass of the party, because his 9 and Ejaku's 9 are only differentiated in the sense that Ejaku had a better spread. So Ejaku got a vote in the Ahafo region, he got a vote in the Western North region, got a vote in Savannah, and got a vote in Central, got a vote in Greater Accra, and got 4 votes in the Eastern. But Adainimo's spread is 6 in headquarters, 1 in Eastern, 1 in Greater Accra, and then 1 in Volta. On Friday or Thursday, when I asked you guys to predict your top 4, all of you said you thought Kwame Japan would be in the top 5.
Yeah.
He was not even in the top 6.
He didn't at all.
Yeah, and maybe we should start from there.
Yeah. Remember when you asked a few weeks ago what I made of when he officially launched this campaign? Remember what I said about my worry that I wondered whether his message would really resonate, whether I would strike a good chord amongst party faithful, either the larger group or the super delegates. I think that concern and that fear was played out clearly from the numbers. You could tell that whatever it is he said really they didn't buy it.
There were 3 votes in our headquarters, 1 in North, 1. I think what this means is that these super delegates are very clear what they want.
Yes.
And they don't want to waste. They don't want to experiment. So like Apreku don't kind of waste that time. 0. Covenant Safapoku, please. 3 votes. Stop it. Jogate, 4 votes. I was saying I wanted him to be in the top 4, 5 for sentimental reasons, not because I thought he would make it.
I did.
But I was still pretty shocked at his dismal performance. 1 vote in headquarters. I mean, what shocked me was that he's from the Western region. He voted in the Western region, got only 1 vote.
Yeah.
And he's a member of parliament for Esekado. So is he saying that the chairman for his constituency didn't vote for him?
Like you're saying, the top brass has told the party what they want.
And did Apreku not have a vote?
Well,
He's
the
former
computation said 0. So clearly
Is he a founding member of the party? He's not?
Not that I know.
you know.
So former MP?
Yeah, former MP.
But former MPs don't vote.
No. It's current MPs.
Current MPs who vote.
Clearly the current MPs don't challenge.
I mean,
The taste is not
so
there.
Jogate, Western region got 1, Upper West got 1, Western North got 1, and then headquarters got 1. Kwame Japan 3 headquarters, 1 Northern, 1 Greater Accra, and then 1. and half. Everywhere else 0. At the end, 6 headquarters.
See, so he didn't get a vote in Ashanti region.
Not even one. So that's why sometimes the claim we make about Ashanti and all of that. Bawumia Ashanti, 97
Out of
118. Right? That's like only 21 votes left.
Yeah.
Alan got 10. Kennedy Agyapong got 6. Afriyie Akoto got 5. I think Afriyie Akoto's performance as well, right? He's the only. Okay, he got votes in every region except Northeast, Northern, and Savannah. So his spread tells you he's of a national character. He had votes everywhere except Northern. Nobody got anything in Northeast, so that doesn't even count. So you can say he got everything everywhere except Savannah and the North, and that tells you that it's the Bawumia effect, because Bawumia's best numbers, of course, Northeast, right? If I show you Bawumia's top 5 regions, 3 are from the North.
Yeah,
Northeast 100%, Northern 94%, Upper East 86%. All right. Yeah. So the question for the day is, based on what we've seen on Saturday, are we going to see a repetition in the same proportion? Are we going to see momentum from the second or third candidate, a comeback to say this is not the right picture of the party? Are we going to see, is Bawumia going to give them a worse beating? Because mind you, Akufo-Addo did 80%, 80-something percent in the first round. He did even better in the second round.
This is my suspicion. I think both Dr. Bawumia and Kennedy Agyapong's numbers will go up.
Oh, okay.
This is what I think. I think both of them will experience increases.
So the top 2 will so it means that hold on. If you add the top 68 plus 15
is 83.
So the 17% left will be shared among those two.
That's what I think. I think Kennedy Agyapong and Dr. Bawumia's numbers will go up, because now you are dealing with a bigger group. And I think out of that bigger group is
so you are basically saying Alan Kyerematen is going to lose ground. His 10% will go. I
think so, unless they re-strategize and find something to resonate. Because even in the build-up to this, you did not get the sense that he was really canvassing. You didn't get the sense that he was shaking the system and getting people to wonder or to look at him and say that this guy has potential. I think he makes it here because of reputation.
But his people say,
and standing.
His people said to me that they were not worried about what number he came with.
They wanted to make it here.
Because their argument is that this group does not necessarily represent the generality of the 200,000.
He was always going to make it here. Anyway.
No, so that's what I'm saying. So I just want to test your comment a bit. So you're saying you don't think he will... You're basically saying that like he will lose ground. Because you're saying Kennedy and Bawumia will make inroads.
Yes, because I think they appeal more. When you look at the larger number who vote, Dr. Bawumia and Kennedy Agyapong both appeal more to those people than Alan Kyerematen. I could be wrong. It's my reading of the situation.
Because let me push you further. Because you see, the polls that we've seen suggest that Alan's popularity is within the generality of the Ghanaian populace, not within the NPP.
Brilliant.
Now, so if the argument is true, then the wider the set of voters, the more popular it becomes.
Yes.
Do you get me? So if you narrow it to just the super delegates, he's not popular. If you expand it to all NPP delegates, he's a bit more popular. If you expand it to all Ghanaian voters, he's more popular. Yes. That's how the progression is. I think so. Based on that progression, you cannot be correct.
Okay, you see, you can say that he may get a few more, but I'm just talking about significant numbers. I don't think he will get a lot of significant numbers from the wider pool. I think Kennedy Agyapong may do better.
Your Kennedy point is strong because on TV, I agree with you, where you and I thought Kennedy was supposed to be strong with just the grassroots. And if he's managed to get 15% among the high and mighty, he can only do better. Yes. So, I don't know. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll address the question on the table. What will happen on November 4? Or what have you learned from August 26? Have you learned enough from August 26 to help you make a prediction about November 4? So, will November 4 be a repetition of August 26. Will it be worse for the losing candidates, or will it be better for them in a reversal? The team from Alan Chamating has sent out a press release, which is Sky has it. If you can give us the details.
Yeah, so the statement was issued on Sunday, but it came out this morning, Sunday, the 27th day of August 2023, titled Press Statement by Honorable Alan Chamating. And it says that on Saturday, the 26th day of August 2023, the Special Electoral College, convened by the New Patriotic Party NPP, selected my good self as one of the presidential aspirants to contest the November 4th presidential primaries. Now, congratulations to all my colleagues who participated in the selection process. I wish to use this opportunity to thank the Almighty God for his grace and mercy in guiding my path this far. I would also like to express my profound appreciation to the delegates of the Special Electoral College who voted for me in this initial selection process. My appreciation also goes to my family and the Alan for President A4P 2024 campaign team, including members of the pro-Alan groups, for their dedication and commitment to my campaign agenda. Now, I would, however, like to express my deep sorrow about the brutal assault of my polling agent in the Northeast region. This is an indelible blot on the integrity of the internal democratic process within the NPP. I wish my colleague speedy recovery and God's manifold blessings, and would like to assure him and his family of my unwavering support for his well-being. Now, the A4P campaign, which is Alan for President campaign coordination team, is currently analyzing the results of the Special Electoral College election. And in the course of this week, I will deliver a public broadcast on the way forward for my campaign. Let me read that portion again because it's significant. He says, the A4P campaign coordination team is currently analyzing the results of the Special Electoral College election. And in the course of this week, I will deliver a public broadcast on the way forward for my campaign. Finally, I wish to reassure my teaming supporters, particularly those at the grassroots level, that the battle is still the Lord's, and that those who wait upon the Lord shall have their strength renewed. God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make our nation great and strong. Signed, Alan Chamating.
So this came through yesterday and we got it today. So he'll make a public statement, a fuller statement beyond this initial reaction.
On the way forward for the campaign, as to whether he's continuing or he's doing something.
He's stepping down.
Yeah, one of them. I mean, something significant will be said in that press engagement.
Yeah. But you sense disappointment.
Yeah.
You sense disappointment in the team.
Yeah.
Placing third after trying this since 2000. I mean, imagine if somebody was born in the year 2007, when Alan started this adventure, the person would be how old? 16 years old.
Yeah.
So somebody who was born in the year he started his presidential thing would have written BC and actually been SS1. That's a whole lifetime. And the numbers are not getting any better. You know, so yeah, he asked a lot of questions. And I think some of the newspapers analyzed it and said I think you can say the biggest loser is Alan. If you want to be very honest, in terms of the 9, he's the biggest, because Kennedy's loss is not really a loss.
Okay.
Right? And then, of course, I don't know what to make of Afriyie, in a sense that his performance was pretty impressive. And you particularly in
I'm
the context...
I'm not sure about...
Okay, no, not impressive. Let me use the word.
Yes.
You didn't, the three of you, I even said I thought he could make the top 5, but the three of you didn't think he could make the top 5. Yeah. So the word is not impressive, but he's obviously shown a certain stature. Charlie, to get 36 is not easy, bro.
Bernard.
Charlie, somebody got 0. Somebody got 0. And this person used to be a minister. Look, Apreko used to be... Look, if you were mentioning the top 5 MPs in 96 in Ghana, he would be one of them.
Yeah, but
when Kufuor became president, he was even considered for finance before he became trade. And then NEPA, the regional integration, and everything has disintegrated.
Let me.
So the 36 that Afriyie got is not bad.
No, not at all. Considering I also started campaigning way before everybody did.
So that I think the two winners, obviously Bawumia, his 68 is strong. It's
enough to work
his
with.
Ashanti 97 is powerful. His concern will be Central Region and maybe Greater Accra. Greater Accra, he had a lower percentage, and then maybe. But apart from that, he's strong.
He's
strong everywhere.
Let me try and break it down the way I see it. So, for Bawumia, this was important that he do well. Not just place first, but do well.
Yeah.
A signal of intent.
Yeah.
That he is popular across. Okay. Also give him momentum.
Yeah.
And in the final month, in the build up to this, you could say that he had the most momentum.
Yes.
And it reflected in this particular super delegates vote.
Yes.
It must also be emphasized that there's a very distinctive difference in the persona of voters here and what we will see come November. Okay, and so as we explained on Friday, these are people that he meets quite regularly, and he would have gone back to reinforce the relationships that he has with them.
Yeah.
So all well and good for him. You come to Alan John Kwadwo Kyerematen. He needs to. Ms. Good, his message says he's sitting down to
think
through. A lot of things might need to change for him. I think in our conversations, we had noticed that his campaign had gone still the past month.
Yeah.
If you look at the Herald's analysis, also seems to share the same sentiment that his campaign had gone still. Now, this was also supposed to be his crowd.
In a way.
Yeah. Okay. And these are persons that, for the most part, most of them were people he would have built the party with.
Yes.
And so for him to struggle with this crowd is significant. Now, the reason why he will not like this is the fact that this also sends a message to his perceived larger base for November, who will look at this and say, are we wasting our vote or not? Because if we give our vote to this person, if he doesn't have support up, what does that mean down here?
Going forward,
Okay, so he's in a very tight spot with how to position himself and how to reignite his campaign, and that is key. And a few simple tips from him. I think he needs to revamp his campaign team.
What do you mean? Are you talking to people?
Yes. Yes.
So if he has people who are good, he should bring them forward.
You see, he had significant disadvantages in the build-up to this one. If you look at somebody like Kennedy, he's a consistent media presence. Okay. For the negativity, bad press, good for him, all press is good press.
Yeah.
Okay. He does not really mind about those things.
Yeah.
Also made sure people understood what he stood for. Again, be it positive or negative. And I think we'll have larger conversations around that. Exactly, I'm coming.
Among a certain class, yes.
We will have conversations about what these people stand for when the time comes.
Yeah.
But Alan is in a position where nobody knows what he stood for apart from a Druso. Yeah. Now, that can only carry you so far, which is why the campaign went still.
He also said, I can beat Mahama for you. He said, if you take me to voter, I'm very popular. He said the kind of support he got in a voter market at home, only Rollins got that kind of support. So he can beat Mahama.
Yeah, obviously didn't go down very well because, again,
But is that not a good message?
How do you carry it through? You see, he did that magnificent walk with the crowd and things.
Yeah.
It was momentum. What did he do with it?
Yeah.
So you understand? So he does the thing, then he goes to sleep for a month.
So for example, you can say, but a couple of things. You can say this. He didn't do a lot of interviews.
It killed him.
But Kwabena Japan did many interviews. It didn't help him.
No, but you see, the point of attack for Kwabena Japan and the point of attack for Alan were completely different.
So you think Alan should have probably sat down one-on-one on a hard interview and spell out his program in a more detailed
way? As I said here, I don't know what Alan stands for. You see, Alan doesn't have a position on a lot of key issues that have been carried through. We do newspaper reviews. We've been doing this for 2 years. We can take the newspapers from the past 2 years.
Yeah.
what does Alan stand for on
some
what?
things.
He passes comments once in a
Yeah,
while.
I get you.
It comes up.
As against Baumia, who will say he's defending the record of this government.
Yes,
so you know it's
exactly.
very clear what he stands
see?
for.
Two.
Or Kennedy Ajepan,
So,
who's
Yes,
outlined what
you
he
are right.
thinks.
So you are right.
Alan did a lot of things wrong with this campaign. I think he needs to look at his campaign.
Is
team.
it the campaign that's wrong, or the man is not? I want to use the word properly. So you are using a strategy. You are saying it's a strategy went wrong. Isn't that people aren't people just tired of so like is it like the Alan thing has
Waned off. Yes, that's why I'm saying that, and he should have felt that sense because there was no aggression. Because again, like I said, in our own internal conversations, which we can now put on air, we noticed how still the campaign had gone.
But was the Alan thing ever built on strong media presence? The Alan thing was always built on this persona of a dignified, Kufuor-like
But
lawyer,
but you see,
economist,
but you see, a
who's a
person,
gentle giant
but a persona,
2.0.
but a
So
person-
it wasn't like the kind of thing you're saying that you didn't see. You see, Baumia's personality is strong. I mean, in opposition, attack
yes,
economics, but digital, whatever. You know what he's standing for
Yes.
in the election in terms of he's talking about the economy and all those things. All
Yes.
right. Alan is not being positioned either by his role as trade minister or by his own personality on any issue.
which is why I'm saying then the people who were managing his campaign, his strategists, he needs to take a look. Because in the end, they failed to identify what his strengths and weaknesses were.
But are we not making
Even before this crowd.
Are we not making too much of round one?
No, that's what I'm saying, that for him, you see, for everybody, the risks are different. For him, he can say that this is not my base. But then again, you can also sit, like we've said, we can also say this is your base because these are the people that you have built the party
And
with.
if you break this down, about 700 of these guys are elected party officials. So you
Yes.
have regional chairmen, regional executives, constituency chairmen. So these are not appointed people necessarily. These are elected people. Do you understand? Now, an elected person, by extension, is somebody who has the support of the people in the party. I'm not saying that is the real base, but I'm just saying that for a man of his stature, you see, the reason that his statement concerns me is that his spokespersons were telling me that they just want to be in the top 5. Now, Ininto said the same thing to Sanda. Sly Tete said the same thing to me, that they just want to be in the top 5. But now he's saying he wants to review the performance and issue a statement. That suggests that even though they were saying it that they just wanted to be in the top 5, the number 3 has worried them. The fact that they didn't even come out number 2. So they are not admitting it, but the fact that they didn't do better is what has led to this very somber statement he released.
But the universally accepted front runner, one of the universally accepted front runners for a competition, comes third, and we are supposed to suddenly
in a distant third,
and we are suddenly supposed to believe that it's acceptable. No, it's not.
not. Even within the selected group.
Yes, even within the selected group, it's not. So he has work to do. It doesn't mean his chances are over. Of course, it is safe to assume that he will have a significant say come November. But what this does is the interpretation of this by that base. Because people don't want to waste
Let me
votes.
be a bit mischievous here.
Okay.
So I looked at the poll that Musa did in July,
Yes, please.
where 70% of NPP delegates, he entered NPP delegates, said that the country was moving in the right direction. 24% said the country was moving in the wrong direction, and 6% said they won't tell you. So you can say 70% of the respondents within the NPP delegates said that they thought the country was moving in the right direction. All right? And then 30% they don't think so. Now, that 70% has roughly translated to what we've seen. But the general population, only about 40-something thought the country was moving in the right direction, about 44 or something.
Yes.
All right? The rest of the country thought the country was moving in the wrong direction. So my
Yes.
point is that maybe Alan has a point when he says, I am more popular among the general population. So if you put me on the NPP ticket, so in NPP, 70% say Baumia, and that 70% are the guys who are saying the economy is in the right direction. I'm just doing an extrapolation.
I get you.
So Baumia's 68% is the 70% of the people who. So basically, NPP supporters who think they have a chance are 70%, and they want to stick that chance with Bawumia. 30% of NPP people who are delegates think, no, we are not doing well, we need a change. Now, my point is that if you take the national population survey that Musa did, the number of people who actually then think that the country is in the right direction is much lower than 50.
Yes.
So Alan could say, look, I am the candidate that the general population, bar the hardcore or bar the NPP, I don't know.
He could say, but did not, which is what I'm saying. He needs to take a look at his strategy, because this point that you made could perhaps be his strongest selling point with the delegates. I might not be popular within the party, but I'm the one who can win you an election. In the end, what do you want? You want to win an election and maintain power. All the polls favor me nationally. The polls do not favor me internally, in terms of, and none of the polls have given him victory. But all the polls that have been done on a national level give him a slight edge. Okay, not a comprehensive edge, but a slight edge. How forcefully did he reiterate that message? He did not. That's what I'm saying. Between now and November, he might need to sit down and start considering what his options are when it comes to selling a new message. Because at the moment, and getting a bit more aggressive, because I don't think his passive style is working for him right now. Then on Kennedy Japan, he would be smiling of the lot. I think him and former Agric Minister are the two who would be smiling the most, because Kennedy, again, significant wave of momentum, one would say, the past month.
Although that momentum slowed down a few days to the voting. If you notice, after Sunday's
I think that was deliberate.
Yeah, because I sensed that the negative message was not working, so there was a certain slowdown. And when Sanda did the interview, I noticed a sort of a moderation a bit. Because if you listen to his campaign probably in June and July, and the kind of things he was saying, I sensed that he sort of, maybe that's just me, he slowed down in the level of negativity a week to the time.
The victory for Kennedy Japan is this. That for somebody like Kennedy Japan and his history to get to the point of national politics in this country, where 135 members of the super delegates of his party think that he can run for president, is enough victory for him.
Can you repeat that?
But
can you repeat what you said?
I
like what you said. I want you to say it again. It makes a lot of, you are saying that for somebody of Kennedy Japan's history,
yes,
to get to a point in Ghana politics,
yes,
where 135
of the MPP's top brass think he is good enough to stand for president of their party, represents them.
It's a victory.
It's victory for him.
Wow.
But the thing is, he wants more.
You think so?
Oh, of course he wants more. If you look at the resources he has expended in getting to this point and what he has done, and again, I'm not saying he is the... I am very uncomfortable with his candidature. I do not think he's the kind of president we need, and I'll get to that point.
We are not yet there.
Yes, we are not there.
I get your point.
But where we are now, he has shown that he has a say in the party. And the perception around him has always been he's a man of the people. And that he wasn't an establishment person. Well, 135 of the establishment considered him good enough. Now you are going to his perceived playground. His perceived playground. Where he's expected to have an even bigger say. How big a say will impact Bawumia? Because he needs a certain number. MPP, what is it straight? Is it a straightforward first past the post? First past the post.
Over 50%.
You must get 50%.
50% is not first past the post.
No. That's how come he came up in
2007.
And Nanado didn't.
But they've not changed that rule.
And that is where his advantage lies.
So that because you need more than 50, the more votes he gets, the more likely it is to go to a second round.
Yes. So for him,
but Nathan's argument is that he thinks that Kennedy and Bawumia will take from Alan based on. So he's saying that
at the moment is Kennedy. I don't think is even looking at Alan.
You think he's targeting
Kennedy
Mr. Bawumia
is looking
himself?
at Bawumia directly and saying,
but
here.
Nathan's point about the number, the place he will get his votes from. So if you have a demoralized Alan voter, he will go to Kennedy. He won't go to Bawumia yet.
Yes, but at the moment we don't know how heavy that Alan vote is, considering that he did not perform.
Yes.
Okay. The thing is complicated. By the way, when you said that you think that he wants more, on Saturday, Sky's argument was that he's made his point.
Yes.
And he's shown that he's strong enough.
No.
But he believes that beyond this, he probably needs to call for, and this is why I departure. He calls for, like, he should call the Bamia guy and say, let's have a conversation. But my point was that he will not do that because he has nothing to lose. It's the Bamia people who will have to call him.
I share Sky's position on that matter to the point where my position on Ken has always been that he was putting himself into
just to
a significant advantageous position for butter in the party. Because I spoke to you. Hold on.
That's what I said about Trump.
Hold on. No. Hold on. You remember I spoke to you the last time we had this analysis. I spoke to you about the leadership gap in the NPP.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not, there's a significant leadership gap in the NPP. Okay. Now, there are people who are trying to fill that gap. Kennedy is one of those people. Now, again, which is why I'm saying that if you look at where he has come from and where he is now.
Yeah, but the departure for me and Sky's point is that, yes, he's done well.
Yes. But he's no longer satisfied with just doing well.
That's what I said. So,
yes.
So on that point, I'm with you. So Sky's argument is that he's gotten to a point where he's made gains.
So he can trade.
So he doesn't need to do any further damage to himself or to anybody. And I was saying that, no, the guy is not... He is okay with himself. He is rather damaged.
He's hold on.
So
I'll get to you. Hold on. You see, but he's at the point where the man could actually even, if he wants to bargain properly, and tell you that make me running mate.
That's what I'm saying to Sky. That, but he is not. The difference with Sky is saying that
he's at that
he
point.
should go to the people who are leading and say, "Let's talk." And
whichever way.
He's not going to do that.
All right, you got to wrap up.
He's the guy who's gotten 15%. So he's going to say, "Hey, I'm cool, man."
Yeah, so he's cool and he's smiling.
So the other guy has got to call him, man.
And then finally, number 4, Afriyie started campaigning way ahead of everybody. Again, these were expected to. We expect him to do well.
Let's qualify that. He was the last person to resign.
But the first to campaign.
No. His posters were out in 2021.
Bernard,
I'm coming.
Bernard.
No,
let us not miss this. Hold on. We have audio of the then agric minister on the road doing agric minister job whilst telling people vote for me.
Okay.
He was campaigning.
Not officially.
He was campaigning. He did not hide it.
Not officially.
There were places where he was expected to visit as agric minister. In the week to his visit, they started putting out billboards to announce.
Let's go to your point.
So Sky. No, my point is, he has also made his point. He's entered the race. Okay, he's entered the race. That is what he wanted, to be there on the ballot for the final day. I think he genuinely expected that he stood a chance. I have never considered him a threat in that regard.
You need to admit that you got it wrong on him because...
No, but I didn't give him a chance of entering the fight.
Yes, but I did.
Yes, you did.
All you said you didn't think the guy would
Yes, you did.
And I said the guy...
Who? The
Afriyie
minister.
And you see, for me...
I said he would make it.
No, you also gave Kwame Japan number 4. And then you said...
I said he, Dr. Afriyie. No, I didn't mention it.
You gave him 5.
Yes.
What impressed me was the fact that his votes were spread across.
Yeah. If you are a former
Sky,
agric minister with the kind of resources he had for planting for food and jobs, and the massive hold on, and the massive import of fertilizers that we saw in this country. If you cannot,
somebody was a trade minister.
Hold on.
Somebody was a Greek minister. Somebody was vice president.
Hold on. Jumano, it's a big matter. It touches so many.
So you think the farmers? But are there any farmers in the delegates? Are the delegates farmers?
Majority.
Are the delegates fertilizer users?
Better
stop it.
Better, if you like, you can distill down to the point I'm making that if you come from that angle, you would say that look, he is the numbers is got.
But why didn't you? If you knew this before, why didn't you predict him in the top 5?
Okay, so
you're talking about those you expected.
Yeah, that's so. My expectation was that I was looking at much more complex issues beyond. Okay, the man has had the position for himself for the past how many years? 6 years or so.
Yeah, since 2000.
Yeah, exactly.
17.
So he used that to build a certain infrastructure. contact with the farmers, many of whom are farmers, delegates, many of whom are farmers.
Okay.
If you go down to it, many of these people, they are doing one thing or the other in the constituency. And if you speak to people close to the system, they will tell you that. Like I said on television the other day, I think that, I didn't give him a dog's chance. He's been able to make it into the top 5. Congratulations to him. But he came a distant fourth. And while it is a good thing to celebrate that at least I've made a cut, I do not think that those numbers are encouraging. And Bernard, you asked a question, which question is on the table? That is it the case that what played out on Saturday?
That's the question for the week.
Is what would most likely repeat itself.
So 70, 15, 10. And everybody else 0. Or 80. Or it will be closer.
Yeah. I can say to you
Yeah.
that in my respectful view,
Yeah.
given everything that appears to be aligned in a certain direction, I think Bawumia would emerge with a convincing victory on the on the 4th of November.
Today is
and now let me give you
28th October. You are predicting that based on what you know so far.
Yeah.
Of course, it could change. He will get more than 70.
Yeah, he will most likely.
Let me give you do better.
Yeah, let me give
me 2 pieces of evidence to support your claim.
Okay, so first of all,
Yes.
I told you on television
Yes.
that the makeup of the people who voted over the weekend, only a handful or so of them are elected officials. The argument that had been repeatedly made.
You mean they are appointed officials? Only a handful are appointed.
That's right.
Yes.
You made that concession a short while ago.
Yes.
The reason being that it had been repeatedly argued that the people who are talking Bawumia are saying so because they have been appointed by the system to influential positions. And if you disaggregate the numbers, it would seem that 700 and something out of the 900 who voted happen to be people holding one leadership position or the other by reason of their election to those offices. Do you understand? So, for instance, you're talking about constituency chairman, 275 of them, right? And
so
then
you have the regional.
You have regional executives,
who
MPP members of parliament.
That's regional executives are quite many. If you multiply 16 by I think 7 or 8 or 9, that's quite a lot. And they are almost all elected.
Exactly.
Constituency chairman elected. So MPs elected.
Yeah.
So only the ministers and maybe the council of elders and maybe the founding members are non-elected.
Yeah, that's right. And also majority of the ministers, right, became ministers by reason of their being members of parliament, right?
So your point is that this group is a reflection of the party base, even though
Broadly.
it's just the cream of the base.
Yeah, that's
it was like the top of the base.
Yeah, broadly.
All right.
So the argument I made to you on Saturday was that, in my view, it would be so shocking an indictment that these people will go and make a decision. Which decision will be at a yawning departure from what the base of the party would have thought. Because these people, when they are going to make their decisions, a good number of the times, they listen to the ground.
Oh, we hope so. Because I pointed to you that MPs don't do what the
which
people
is fair.
want.
Oh, no, which is fair. Yeah, but the dynamics are different. You have a government to run, a government, agenda you want to get through. But in terms of who you want to run the party, you must go down to the people and listen. What are the people saying? Do the people believe that Bawumia is the best bet for the party, or they believe that a new hand will help? And if there is anything we should take away from the elections, let's look at the results from Ashanti.
That was serious, 90. Just give me a minute. Alan had 10. Bawumia had 97, which was a lot.
Out of how many people? Ashanti region, he got 97.
Out of 1.
Ken got 6. Alan got 10. Akoto got 5.
8. So it's very serious, and nobody else got anything.
Exactly. Now, what was the argument that had been made? That look, if this election is to be decided, a lot will come down to what happens in the Ashanti region.
Ashanti shalaking.
And the impression was created that because many of the heavyweights in the race
are
from Ashanti or have some leaning to Ashanti,
Charlie?
that would determine which direction. And something happened on your show, the point of view.
Yeah.
A certain impression, although it was not expressly stated, people walked away with the impression that there will be an alliance against Dr. Bawumia ultimately as to deal with his rising influence within the party.
Yeah.
But Ashanti showed us that
Charlie?
look, it is not as simple. So I am stating that if you look at what happened over the weekend and you take the profile of the people who voted,
Charlie.
and you go with my view that they are likely, or they did what they did, most likely as a result of listening to the ground. My view is that what happened on Saturday would most likely repeat itself on November 20th.
So Sky has spoken. Nathan thinks that both Kennedy and Bawumia will do better. He thinks Alan will rather suffer. Sky says Bawumia will do much better in November than he did in August 26. Godfrey said a lot of things, but he didn't answer the direct question. But we'll come back and see. Very interesting. So somebody said, Bernard, Ken in the past had contributed resources and campaigned for some of his colleague parliamentarians to win their seats. They just said thank you in the votes that we saw.
Let's go through, Some of the messages.
Yes.
Mate Kofredia says, the same people who voted in the super delegates are still delegates in the general election. And he thinks it's a foregone conclusion for Dr. Bawumia. This one says the majority of the delegates were politically made by the establishment, and their continuous stay in office as appointees and even as elected people is based on the support of the establishment. They couldn't have varied their votes. Also, the super delegates constitute less than 0.4% of the real people who vote in November. What happened last Saturday was part of machinations to impose a successor by the powers that be, but it will lead to opposition. You're free from Joe Lysander. This one says, this may not be the strongest indication yet. The base of the party that voted in the Super Delegates Conference are from the establishment, so they were whipped in line. Bawumia getting the votes is not surprising because of the above. Kennedy being an MP and well-resourced will have a good amount of votes from both Parliament and other places. Alan's and Kennedy's strength will show in the Delegates Conference proper, which will also reveal Bawumia's true size from El Tito in the UK.
Okay.
This one says, November 4 at 6 p.m. Bawumia, 75.9%.
Hey.
Alan, 11.2%.
Hey.
Ken, 10.4%. Others, including sport ballots, 2%. Ken's unnecessary rant during Saturday's polls will drop him from second to third. Wild allegations, incessant abuse of the party rank and file, fatigue in the general electorate, that's NPP delegates, Yaron Spintex.
Yeah, an interesting point. So he said Bawumia will take from both Alan
and Kennedy. Interesting one. This one says, would this be a reflection of what might happen in November? My answer is no. These voters are mostly government appointees who are setting allegiance to the
No, that's not true. That's not true. We just showed that if you break the delegates number down, they are not government appointees.
Yes.
The government appointees are probably mostly possibly 100.
Yeah. So John the Yango driver.
Yeah, so check it out. Eh?
Adolf from New Barry says, even though Kennedy Pond is favored, his hot temper, in which he exhibited with the showdown outburst, is likely to make him lose significant votes on November.
Let me read a few more. Bernard, tell Richard Sky the following. 1. Bawumia is a candidate of the establishment. 2. Most of the MPs who voted for Bawumia are the very ones on their way to struggling and possibly losing their seats. Mark it. 3. The mood and livelihood situation of the general delegates and those of the super delegates are worlds apart. 4. The general delegates are smarter and pretty much aware of who among the candidates is doing the bigger inducement. I personally don't see Bawumia getting a one-off victory. We have a contest on our hands. So I think that's the other point. So we may not have to argue too much, but I think the question of whether the 2020, the November race will be much closer than this race, you think it will be easier for Bawumia based on the signal it sends. Fine, you've made that point.
I just want to...
And hold on. Yeah. Nathan too has said he thinks Bawumia will do better, but he also thinks Kennedy will do better. He thinks Alan's team will suffer. I just didn't get a clear statement from Godfrey on his view. The question on the table is, to what extent does August 26 predict November 4? Sky is saying November 4 will be much better for Bawumia than August 26. Nathan says November 4 will be much worse for Alan He thinks both Bawumia and Kennedy will do better.
Yeah.
Right? I haven't gotten an answer from you on that point. I mean,
It's a difficult question, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Again, like based on the very different, as I explained, personas of the delegates that we are going to experience. But I do admit that Bawumia stands at a significant advantage going into November. It's something that you cannot overlook.
Yeah. You know, I made a point which I have to sort of try and come back
Deal
to.
with.
I was telling Sky on TV that the sampling of the 900, you see, to what extent is the 900 a prediction of the 200,000? Now, because you've sampled them deliberately and not randomly, do you get my argument? If you had randomly selected 900 people from the 240,000 to represent the various levels of the party and the various constituencies, and you had come up with this number, then you say that 70% is a good prediction. So my argument was that the sample is very carefully selected. All right. So it gives you a good sense of what those people are thinking, but it doesn't necessarily become a good predictor. But I think I sort of accept your pushback to me when you said only 100 or so are selected and the rest are elected. And also, if somebody has won an election as a constituency chairman, he knows a thing or two about his party. He's not there just doing his own bidding. The constituency chairman knows what his polling station executives think.
Yeah.
Do you get it? So I have to qualify my differentiation between this structured sampling and random sampling point based on what you said. But I still think that depending on what happens in the economy between now and November and the rhetoric of Kennedy Japan and what Alan tries to do, the race may not be as straightforward.
Yes.
But what is clear is that Bawumia is strong.
Yes, he has an advantage.
He is very strong in the party, and nobody should think that this is an Aliu 2.0 in the sense of what happened. There was no precedent, and that his and again, you and I know that from 2008 when he was elected, he was chosen, we've seen his media trajectory. I think I did the first interview with him, proper interview in 2008. We did a Zoom, we called it Google Hangout from Google office, where we did an interview with him. Compare that to the 2013 election petition Bawumia. That's poles apart. And then compare that to the 2015 campaign 2 and then vice president. So he's really he's grown. Unlike the Aliu Mahama Kufuor situation, he's actually grown
a beast.
And I'm predicting that if he wins, he will actually probably even append the president in the next 3 years as the full
leader.
Bernard, you see,
he will.
You see, what people don't realize is that Bawumia has grown. I was there at the Alisa Hotel when he was announced.
We are saying the same thing.
People were so much angry. The party people, like they were
who is
angry.
he?
Who is he? Badien, Bahu, Badien. And when we went to Takoradi, when he was outdoors, one of the people in the race today, we interviewed him. He said, the person is in the race.
Apologies.
No, I'm just making a point.
I'm blowing his cover.
Then Bawumia was given the opportunity. See, what actually created Bawumia, which people don't realize, was the 2012 election petition.
No, that's what consummated him. He was created by Akufo-Addo's choice of him.
Yeah, but you see, in terms of who Bawumia is today,
of course,
they give the man
election
about
petition
9 months or so
to show
on prime television.
I'm telling you,
to show what he is capable of.
he and General Mosquito.
His understanding of the electoral process.
Yes.
What should happen, what should not happen.
Yeah.
Having to think and act under pressure.
Oh yeah.
In the courtroom.
Of course.
That rebuilds the man into a monster.
Oh yeah.
And we saw the fuller version of him ahead of the 2016 elections. Where the Bawumia, yes, that's right. We saw in 2008 move from some novice who didn't know his left from right to someone who
like
could deliver.
Boxer, from an amateur boxer to now a guy who can give you rope and dope.
Exactly. So he was, all these things, wahala. Of course, the economy is not bearing him out as, a genius in terms of how to manage an economy. But in terms of how he's been able to grow himself and understand the politics of Ghana.
Yeah.
You cannot.
And then
take
the
that
other
away
point
from
you need to make about the Alan point, a lot of people are saying, and I think Larry Doby has done a very interesting analysis today in the Herald.
Yeah.
The point about Alan's relationships, where, like people say, let me read this message. It's a very controversial message. Let me read it.
Read it for me.
Bernard, Alan, unlike Akufo-Addo and others, does not cultivate and nurture relationships. And this is coming from somebody I know who worked with Kufuor.
Yeah.
All right? It is a serious defect which was drummed home to him in any meeting we were with him. Due to this defect, he was always putting new teams together anytime there's a campaign to run. His current team are largely new guys who were not with him in 2008 or 2012. In 2008, this person says he was part of the campaign team.
Yeah.
Alan's popularity came up as a result of Kufuor, Dr. Anane, Kojo Mpieni, and Tommy Amatekpos, and the resources these people raised. John Kuma was Alan's first PA. Abu Jinapo was with Alan. Opaya San was with Alan. I was in the same camp with these guys. But the inner challenge with him is that he doesn't naturally care about his strategists and mafia guys. He will not call and maintain contact, unlike another campaign that I know. So he's talking like Nana. And then he says Yaboabi and Afeku were not in his team in 2012 and 2008. So you see this argument of his. So that's part of the point.
Yeah, but that's
No, I
also
think,
the point I made about you.
Obabin has always been with him.
Yeah, but the point, but the point is this. You see, finally for me, the on some of the self-inflicted injuries that Alan has put on himself in his campaign. This message, for instance, who's his campaign manager?
Do you even know?
I know he didn't know.
The fact that we're even struggling
No,
is a problem, isn't it?
his campaign manager,
See,
I don't know. I think he's not into. I don't know.
you want to be president, but Mia's campaign manager Sami Oku.
We know.
He can enter everywhere. He smiles with everybody based on the relationships that you're talking about. Okay.
But let's end with this comment.
Which one?
Bernard, when it comes to the resources, Baumia controls the cash. Alan cash is cashless.